flash photography or recording of any kind is strictly prohibited. Please take a moment now to locate your nearest emergency exit. Thank you, and enjoy the performance.
And now, from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Brass Quintet.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for being here with us this evening from Washington, D.C. As you've heard from our lovely announcement, thank you for that. We are the United States Army Band Brass Quintet from Fort Myer, Virginia. We are part of the Pershing Zone Band. We had a chance to work with some of the students earlier today and had a great time, and we're looking forward to hearing everyone tomorrow as a part of this awesome Brass Quintet competition and festival that we're here for. So we're going to continue playing some more music for you. That first piece was a piece recently commissioned for us by trumpet player extraordinaire, composer Phil Snedeker. We're going to move on to another piece that was arranged for this group by a retired member of our group, the Army Band. He was in for just shy of, or just right around 35 years of service. Sergeant Major retired Chuck Sipe did a lot of great arrangements. Amazing trumpet player, ended up as the group leader of the concert band. We're going to move on to his arrangement of Handel's Overture and Allegro. I'll grab the mic while I'm fixing my iPad. Thank you again for having us. It is an absolute pleasure to be here. I'll introduce some of the members of the group later tonight. We have a lot of ties to Texas, both being from and going to school in the area, so it's a real thrill and honor for us to be here this evening. We have a room primarily of brass players and brass quintets, which is awesome, which is also leading me to our next set of pieces, which is still a terrible idea, but not as bad as it was I felt last week. See my voice cracked? I was still terrified from last week. We performed at the National Trumpet Competition, and I had, Andrew and I had this wonderful idea of let's take 4 of our favorite piccolo trumpet concertos and pick our favorite movement from them and write them with a brass quintet accompaniment and perform them together in front of every trumpet player on the planet. Yeah, exactly. That is the proper response. So, great arrangements, we're really happy with them, and then, I step up on stage, and we're about to do this, and I look out, and I see literally every single one of my idols and icons and teachers and colleagues and friends, and I tried to call an audible, but these guys would never let me get away with it. So, we're gonna do it again tonight. We're gonna start with the first movement of the Telemann Trumpet Concerto. We're gonna move on to a movement from Purcell's Sonata in D, a movement of the Foch Concerto, and we're going to end with a final movement from the Tartini Trumpet Concerto. For those trumpet players out there that are keen, like our good friend Danny back there, yes, I arranged the Telemann, and yes, I purposely passed the solo off between the two of us. It's good when you get to arrange the music. We hope you enjoy our 4 Baroque pieces we've entitled Baroque Fantasy. Still don't know what we were thinking, Andrew. It's a lot of fun to play all these pieces with this group. One thing you'll notice, everything we do, minus I think one piece tonight. Most of the stuff that we do in this ensemble is music that was either written for us or by us or arranged by us. While the standard repertoire is spectacular, and we do that on occasion, we'll read through some things, and every now and then we'll add a piece or two to our shows. We try to find what differentiates us. You know, we're a military band, and we do a lot of functions on a normal basis. For those of you that were at our class earlier, the regular job for us on a daily basis is supporting events and missions and ceremonies in the Washington, D.C. and the National Capital Region, whether it be for a retirement ceremony, a change of command, a cake cutting ceremony, or a private party for the president. It ranges all across the spectrum of what we get to do. So on occasion, when we get to come out on the road and perform concerts like this, it's a time for us to kind of get to play what we want to play as well. So this next piece, it was not, I got two pieces, I lied. You rearranged it, see, I was good. Got this. The next piece is going to feature Sergeant First Class Greg Hammond, who is from somewhere, Rochester, New York, a graduate of the Eastman School of Music, and from Houston, Texas. Really? Okay. Sorry, I was hoping for more for you, but we're in San Marcos. Ladies and gentlemen, playing Bolivar, Sergeant First Class Greg Hammond.
Thank you very much. So this next piece is arranged by our youngest trumpet player in this group. His name is Staff Sergeant Andrew Boylan. Yeah, that's right. He arranged this piece for us before he actually joined us. He won the audition quite a while ago. And when he went to basic training, he thought, this is so much fun, I want to do it twice. So he had a little problem in basic. He went home, got a little injured, and while he was kind of sitting around waiting to heal up, he reached out to us and he was like, hey, how can I be involved? How can I contribute to the group while I'm still waiting to kind of show up? And so we said, well, we like to do our own arrangements, so if that's something you're into or something you want to get into, send us what you come up with. And he sent us a few things, and the next one that we're going to play is one that we really fell in love with. And so we really appreciate the work that he did before he got to the group, and I'm really glad that we're continuing to play it now that he's here. This is Rachmaninoff's Prelude in G minor.
next piece we are going to play is the one piece that I was specifically mentioning that was not written by us, it was not written for us, and it was not arranged by us. There's one. I promise you there was one. So, any brass player or trumpet player especially has heard possibly of Kevin McKee. I know that the horn professor here is familiar with him. He's a wonderful, wonderful, amazing person, amazing trumpet player, an amazing composer. We always talk about how small the musical world is, and you always hear people say that. A few years ago, I'll just call it a few years ago, when I was in college, thank you again. I like whoever's over there. Hi, Mom. So our pianist at the time was Jessica, and Jessica and I did everything together, all the juries, all the recitals, all the performances. Even later on, when I joined the Army Band, I did a competition over in Budapest, and Jessica flew with me and did that, so we've worked together for years. Jessica started dating this trumpet player. And long story short, you can guess who it is, Kevin McKee. So we've become really good friends with Kevin. He's just an awesome person and a great, very talented musician. And we're super lucky that he lives literally right up the road from us. So as we were preparing for a recent tour to Korea last November, we had him come by and he spent a couple hours with us and really dug in with us on this piece. That's a really rare and special thing that you get to do. You know, Rachmaninoff is not still alive. We can't go ask him exactly what he meant or what his inflections meant. Or, you know, to have someone in the room to really workshop with us and dig into a piece that much with the actual composer, I think is super, super cool. And we're really lucky and fortunate to be able to do that. So this next piece we're going to perform is Kevin McKee's Iron Horse. It's his newest brass quintet. I'm not going to read the whole book. I hope you can see that we're constantly having fun up here, and thankfully you can't hear what they're saying to me, but they are constantly chit-chatting. They were making fun of me at one of our prior concerts because I literally read Kevin's entire program notes because I needed a chalk break, and on the fly, I was like, I'll just read the whole paragraph. I'm thinking about doing it right now, but I can't take what I'm going to hear for the rest of the week from that. So, envision a train. He used to sit and watch this train with his father growing up, and the opening you'll hear, he once, envisioning the sound of a train moving across rolling hills, and you'll hear some odd bends. We're not making mistakes or messing up, at least not in that moment. He's trying to mimic the sound of a train horn, and you can hear the train slowly accelerate more and more, so I hope you have that in your mind, and we really hope you enjoy Kevin McKee's Iron Horse.
Yes, I should also mention it's in 2 movements, so. Yeah. So there's not that awkward staring at each other when we're done with the first movement. Weird big movie.
So after hearing that, if you're not familiar with Kevin McKee music,
Take your time, please. Not so fast.
Yep, you're going to be hearing about that for a few weeks now. If you're not familiar with his music, please check out his music. He writes, this is his 4th or 5th brass quintet. I think they're all spectacular, and he has a bunch of trumpet solo pieces and horn pieces. Like, just check it out, it's awesome. Kevin McKee. We're going to move on and do a few more pieces for you. We're going to do Chris Bridge. One of the single most important thing that we get to do as members of the United States Army Band are provide musical support for ceremonies in our international cemetery. For those of you that don't realize what the band really does on a daily basis is provide these musical support, and there are up to 10 or even more some days Army funerals on a single day in Arlington National Cemetery. Often when people hear that number, they had no clue there. And Andrew and I, as buglers of the ceremonial band, are the trumpet players that step out and sound taps for those funerals. There's really nothing more meaningful, more powerful, and special that we get to share what we do, what we love, our talent with someone in that way who has either given up their life for their country or at the end of a successful life retiring from service. So we would like to dedicate this next piece to all of those men and women who have served. This is a mix-up. Often on the funerals that we perform, we play a hymn as they bring the casket in and out of the chapel. We'll do hymns, then we'll play marches as we march to the cemetery. And when we get to the gravesite, there's another hymn that brings the body to the actual gravesite. And there's a 21-gun salute and the sounding of taps. So we've done this mix-up. We're taking retired Sergeant Major Jenny Edelbrock's wonderful arrangement of Amazing Grace, and also a hymn that we do on funerals, and was one of my favorite hymns as well. Not a hymn, I'm sorry. One of my favorite pieces of music is Paul Simon's Bridge Over Troubled Water. And to top off on top of that, if what we're about to play isn't more meaningful to us as it is, we recently got video footage from Arlington National Cemetery. And not only is it video footage of the funeral in Arlington National Cemetery, it is the funeral of our Colonel Derek Shaw, who was an officer of ours who very recently passed away from cancer. And this is actually his funeral that we have video footage of. So we hope you enjoy our Amazing Grace and Bridge Over Troubled Water.
calling an audible. And so now for something completely different. Jibo's mentioning some of the parts of our job that happen in Arlington Cemetery. We also play a lot of official government and military ceremonies around the DC area. And at the end of 2021, we had the honor to perform for Colin Powell's funeral. It was around October, November of that year, and it took place at the National Cathedral. And if you have ever been there, you know what a gorgeous space it is, what a beautiful space to play in it is. If you have never been there, next time you're in DC, I highly recommend you check it out. It's very beautiful. And so we were tasked to be the prelude music for this ceremony and play a few things during it. And as we're getting the music together, we're picking the pieces that we're going to play. It's like, okay, a couple standard things. Amazing Grace, a couple other funeral-specific things. And we hear from our operations team, they said, hey, the family has a request. They have a specific piece of music they want you guys to play. And we're like, okay, yeah, that's totally fine. We can probably make that work. It's probably something really standard for a funeral, and if we have it, or we can arrange it real quick. It's totally fine. And they came back and they said, so they want Dancing Queen. And we kind of went back and forth, like, they want Dancing Queen. They want, for Colin Powell's funeral at the National Cathedral, they want us to play Dancing Queen. You want us to play Dancing Queen while there are 4 current and past presidents sitting right there? I swear to God, I thought someone was trying to get us fired. And so they were serious, and Rick kind of turns to me and he goes, can we do this? Can you arrange this? And I was like, I'll give it a shot. I don't know, I've never arranged ABBA before. But, like any good musician with a deadline, I go to MuseScore. And there's a couple, piano arrangements out there. There was actually even already a Brass Quintet arrangement on there. It was a little on the easier side, and so we took it and we kind of made it work for us. We wrote in some, I wrote out a bass line part, but John just plays whatever he wants. So it's, we made it work, and the day of, we played our regular music, and then we get to Dancing Queen. We kind of look around at each other like, well, nice knowing you guys, and we played it. And it's a funeral, so we play it, and it's just dead silent afterward. Like, okay, cool. But later on, maybe like a couple weeks later, the band gets a note from the family, and they wrote, that was such a great job, thank you so much, we really appreciated it. But the thing that they appreciated the most was Dancing Queen. And they told us that before we played that, the mood in the holding room for the family was very somber. It was very sad, like you would expect at a funeral. And the moment that we kicked off with Dancing Queen, it then turned into a celebration of his life. And it was this moment that just changed the entire vibe of the room, changed the entire ceremony for them, and it really made the day. You never know what's going to affect people in what way, and that's definitely not the piece of music that I thought we'd be bringing on tour with us. But here we are, and they loved it, and it really moved them. Apparently, also, it's our most viewed YouTube video in Australia. Great. But it just goes to show that, no matter what gig you have, no matter what silly little thing that you're doing that's taking up your time, you're like, I don't really want to do this, it's going to have an impact on someone, and it's always really important to not drop your instrument. It's always really important to put your best foot forward and just do your absolute best when you're preparing music and when you're performing. So, I would not tell you this story and deprive you of the joy of hearing us play Dancing Queen. So, as soon as I pull it up, we're going to play Dancing Queen.
While you may think you made that story up just for a good story during a concert, I really true. And everyone was just as scared as you said. We have a few more things for you this evening. First, I want to take a second to introduce the group. I am from Coral Springs, Florida. I've been in the Army Band about 15 years. I am Sergeant First Class Kevin Gibo. On trombone, from Rochester, New York, Sergeant First Class Greg Hammond.
Yeah, Greg.
From Columbus, Georgia. Columbus, what? Sorry, from Columbus, Georgia.
Thank you.
Master Sergeant Rick Lee. From Hutchinson, Kansas, Master Sergeant John Boats. From Houston, Texas, Staff Sergeant Andrew Boylan. Move on to another Sergeant Major retired Chuck Sipe arrangement. Before we get to that, I just want to take a moment and publicly thank Dr. Winking for having us, for all the work and all that you put in to make this entire event happen, from getting us here to getting all the quintets organized to getting the guests here. It's an absolute honor and privilege for us to be here. So thank you from us so much to Dr. Winking. Also, thank you to our two other guests that are here as a part of the festival, who obviously in the back of our minds, we realize are sitting just a couple of rows back. We have Mr. Dan Parentoni. And Ronnie Rao. So here's another funny but true story. He doesn't know this because I've never told him. Don't worry, it's not embarrassing, it's okay. When I was in middle school, and no, it's not an age joke, give me a break. You should hear these guys back here. I'm gonna step a little bit forward without falling off the stage. We were shown a video in middle school of different types of instruments. You know, this is the string, these are the woodwinds, these are the brass. And the video that I saw that had brass in it, which is the reason that I chose to play the trumpet, had Ronnie Ron playing it. So, kind of a full circle moment, and really cool to get to be here and a part of this with you. I wanted to share that because I think that's really cool. If you don't, well, that's fine. I think it's cool. So it's really great to be here full circle and to get to play with these guys every day is an absolute complete honor. So we're going to move on and hope you enjoy Chuck Sipes, Ruslan, and your middle overture. I want to say one final thank you again to Dr. Winking and everyone for having us here, for being here this evening, for all the students we got to work with earlier, for everyone that we're going to get to hear tomorrow. Good luck to everyone. We're super excited to get to listen to Brass Quintet all day. Funnily, that's not like a snarky comment. I'm super excited to get to listen to Brass Quintet all day. We love this. This is what we get to do for a living. We're very, very fortunate and lucky. I want to say thank you. We have my Aunt Martha here from Leander, Texas, who is here. So thank you so much. Someone who, growing up through all those years, who was constantly there as a musician to help support me and guide me and give me advice and just be there for someone that I could, blab about, who understood what I was talking about, was invaluable. So it means a lot to have you here this evening, so thank you so much for that. I love you. I can't without, I started this at NTC and now it's like become a thing, so hi Celia and Luca, I love you. You should be in bed by now, but if you're not, you can watch this tomorrow. Okay, bye. Okay, I'm safe now. I'd also like to say hello. We have Andrew's family. You have your mom, dad, and uncle. So thank you so much for coming out this evening. It really is, as musicians all know, it's always great to have friends and colleagues in the audience, but to get to share a performance and have family there. You know, throughout your college years, it sometimes happens frequently because maybe you don't go too far from home and family's there, but it doesn't always stay that way. So it's really, really special for all of us when we have that. So thank you to all of you that are here this evening for that. And another special guest, we have retired from the Marine Band President's Own, Danny Orban. Thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to see you. If you don't know Danny, go talk to him. He's one of those talented musicians I've ever come across, so go bug him and he'll thank me later for sending everyone to go talk to him. Love you, Danny. Again, thank you. We're going to end our program with America the Beautiful. It's what we end every ceremony with. It's what we end every funeral in our national cemetery with. And we always like to end our program with this as well and dedicate it to the men and women who serve our armed forces. And without their support, without their service, we would not be able to serve in the Army as musicians and be in front of you this evening and play music for you. So we'd like to dedicate this and thank you all. This is America the Beautiful. One more piece for you quickly, because you guys have been so amazing. We decided we're going to play another piece. So, we hope you enjoy. This is an arrangement done by Chris Castellanos of Boston Brass. This is Elisa.
Thank you.